Hey, so you want to learn Java, and like me, you probably searched up on YouTube Java tutorial and came across hour-long content and thought to yourself, you know what, I might as well watch the second season of Paw Patrol. No, just me? Well, either way, I'm here to help. I'm putting together a Java course you will actually learn from and won't bore you half to death. Welcome, my friend, to the Beginner's Guide to Java. In our first video, we're going to go over some good reasons to learn Java, what Java actually is, how to set up your Java environment, go over some basic concepts like classes and methods, and to end it off, we're going to build our very first Java Hello World program. I encourage you to follow along as we go, take some notes, and start typing out some of the code as well. Unless you'll be stuck in tutorial hell, and trust me,
nobody ever comes back from tutorial hell.
No, but seriously, it's statistically proven by some random scientist somewhere that it helps you remember stuff better. And it'll be a good help for you along the way to check back on your code and your progress. Anyways, let's get started. So, why should you learn Java? Well, contrary to popular belief, and I mean really stupid popular belief, Java is still a relevant programming language. And it's used by those rich companies everyone keeps talking about. I mean, if it's used by Jeff Bezos, it has to be good. Also, it can be used for pretty much anything, like you can make Android apps, games, web apps, AI, finance services, cloud computing, and the list goes on. Because of this, it's a highly sought after position by many companies, with entry-level developers in the US making almost 74 grand a year. Trust me, that's a lot more than I made at McDonald's, so I'll take it. But before we can start making money with Java, we need to first understand what exactly Java is. Java is a programming language. Well, duh. And like programming languages, Java bridges the gap between high-level language, which only humans understand, and low-level language, which only computers understand. It does this by compiling your source code to machine code and vice versa, so you don't ever have to see or write in the gibberish zeros or ones, unless you're Mark Zuckerberg. Wait, are you Mark Zuckerberg? What makes Java truly special though is that it's cross-platform. What does this mean? Well, imagine you're writing a letter in English but your friend only speaks French. I don't know how you're friends in the first place, but whatever. You would first have to take your letter, translate it to French, and then send it to your friend. Java acts very much the same way, but for code. So first off, you start off by writing your Java code, your letter. And then a translator called the Java compiler takes your code and translates it to a common language called bytecode. After that, you take the bytecode, send it to your friend, and their Java Virtual Machine, or JVM, translates it to the device's native language. Through this process, literally any device can run Java as long as they have a JVM, like Windows, Mac, Linux, or even Android. Okay, now that we understand that, it's finally time to get started. First, we need to download what's called a JDK, or a Java Development Kit. It just gives us the tools that we need in order to start writing code. Okay, so you want to go over to your browser. Any browser works just fine. Then go ahead and search up Java, I don't think I spelled JDK. Then the first one should be right. Find the Oracle's Java downloads. Then after you're here on the page, you want to scroll down and then you will see a list of operating windows, Linux, Mac, or Windows. The same process works for any of them, so just go ahead and pick which one relates to you. I'm on Windows, so I'm going to do Windows, the x64 installer. You just go ahead and click this. Save it somewhere on your computer. Just remember where you saved it. After that, it's going to start downloading. Just give it a little bit of a time and it should finish fairly soon. Okay, after it's done installing, just go ahead and run it. Since I'm on Windows, it should give you this panel asking if you wanted to make changes to your device. You would do. After that, it should bring up this window asking if you want to install Java JDK. I already have it installed on my device, so I'm not going to reinstall it, but it's pretty straightforward from there. Just go through the prompt and you should have Java installed. Now that we have our JDK installed, we need to install what's called an IDE, or an integrated development environment. It's basically just fancy software that allows you to write, debug, and run your code. There's plenty of options out there, so feel free to use whichever one works for you. I'm personally going to use IntelliJ throughout the course, but I'm going to show you how to download Eclipse that's completely free and works just as well. Okay, I know I said you could use any app you want to, but please don't use apps like Noteapp++ or any note-taking apps. It's completely inconvenient and will just become a hassle later on. Plus, people will treat you like that one weird kid in school. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. Okay, so to install Eclipse, go ahead and search up Eclipse in your browser. The first one should work just fine. Go ahead and press download up here. Once you press download, you should see this desktop IDE package right here. Click download. Once you're over here, everything should be just fine. You could go ahead and select another mirror. This is just where it downloads from. I'm gonna download from any's fine, honestly. Just click one that works for you. And then after that, save it to a place that you're gonna remember and give it some time to download. Okay, nice. Once it finishes downloading, go ahead and open it up. Okay, once that's done, you should see a new window pop up on your computer called the Eclipse installer. Go ahead and click the first one, Eclipse IDE for Java developers, since we're learning Java. Okay, once that's done, it should bring you to this window. It should automatically detect the Java JDK that you downloaded earlier. Select the place you want it to be installed on your computer. Everything else should be fine, and then just go ahead and click the install button. Since I already have Eclipse on my computer, I don't have to go ahead and do that, but it should be straightforward from there. Once it's installed, you can go ahead and open it up. Okay, I know I said it was time to start, but we have to understand some basic Java concepts. Java is object-oriented, which means it works around the premise of functions, methods, and classes, the basic building block of Java life. Functions are blocks of code that perform a specific task based on an input of parameters. What the hell does that even mean? Well, think about it like this. Let's say you want to get a snack from a vending machine. You would first have to put in money and type out the snack that you want. Those are your parameters, the information the machine needs in order to work. Next, the vending machine performs its magic, spins up and down, goes whatever. It gives you the snack. That's the function, the specific action the machine performs based on the information you provided. When it comes to functions and methods, they're pretty much the same thing. A method is just Java's version of a function. They're used pretty interchangeably. In the case of a class is seen as a container that holds multiple functions or methods. Kind of think about using a vending machine inside of a building rather than the one that's outside. The building, or the class, might hold multiple vending machines or methods that perform different actions. Okay, now we can get started. Go ahead, open up your IDE. I opened up mine. I'm going to be using IntelliJ throughout the course. Again, you could use Eclipse. It shouldn't be much of a difference. It might be like different in how it looks like, but it should be like very much the same structure. But go ahead and create a new project. Should open up a window here. Then give your project a name. I'm going to name mine Beginner's Guide to Java. But you can name it anything. It doesn't really matter. Go ahead and save it in a place that you're comfortable with. I'm going to be saving it in my projects file. And You might see this, you might not see this, depends if you have IntelliJ or not. These don't really matter. You can go ahead and ignore it and just go ahead and click create. Once you do that, it should open up your IDE and we can begin coding. Again, depending on Eclipse, IntelliJ, you might see this, you might not, but we're gonna go ahead and delete the main file and talk about how it works. So first, let's talk about the structure of the code. So you're gonna see two things that's really important. You're gonna see the folder you created earlier, and you're gonna see your source folder. You might see some other files like these, but these aren't really important. So you can go ahead and open up your source folder, and then you could create your first Java file. Go ahead, you can name it anything, but I'm gonna name mine main. You usually want to, for good convention, when writing Java, like specify your main class. And once you do that, you might see some generated code like the public class main. Again, like we talked about earlier, it's basically the container that holds all your functions. You need at least one main class or one class in your entire project. But anyways, we're gonna go in between the curly braces and we're gonna type out our first function. To do this, we need to type out our main function to run our program. And we need two important keywords, public and static. This, again, we could talk about it later on through the course, but this just basically means that it's accessible by any class, and static means that you can access it outside of the class. Again, it might be a little confusing now, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later on, but just so you kind of knew. Then we're going to specify that it's void. Like in our analogy earlier, once you give it coins and you type out which snack you want, it gives you the food, it gives you the drink, whatever. If you don't want it to give you anything, you just specify void and it won't return anything. After that, you're going to type out the name of your function. For us, it's going to be main. And inside of these brackets, you need to specify a specific parameter for this to work. It's called string array of args. This just basically allows us to receive feedback from our console or input from our console. It's not important now, but in order for this to work, you have to specify this. Then we're going to open up curly braces, and inside of the curly braces, we're going to type out our first official line of code. Okay, since you've reached this point, give yourself a pat on the back. This is basically a tradition for anyone that learns a new programming language, but we're gonna basically print out to our console hello world. Again, you could print out anything that you want to, but usually it's hello world to kind of signify that you're whatever, it's boring. I don't know why people do it, it's really stupid. But go ahead and type out in Java system.out.println, and then inside of the bracket we're going to type out hello world, like that. Now let's see if it's gonna work. In order to run the code, you could press the play button either here or on the side. I'm not so sure like where it is in Eclipse, but try looking for a play button and just click it and it should run the code. Click run main. Okay, finally, once it finishes compiling, which took hours, you're gonna see it right here, hello world, and you officially wrote your first line of code. Quick little side note, in order to like add notes inside of your Java file, this is basically just to clarify any functions that you eventually write, or to leave a note for yourself in case you forget what something does. But it's just 2 forward slashes and just say my first line of code, and there we officially wrote our first line of code. Congrats, you finally wrote your first Java code. Are you excited? No? Well, you should be. You're on your journey to making your first 75K. Hopefully. Probably, I don't know. If you like what you've seen so far, consider leaving a like. It takes 2 seconds and it really helps the channel out. Also, I'll be making similar videos in the coming days, so if you don't want to miss those out, consider going down below and subscribing as well. Thanks for watching. Until next time.